Firelight at dawn. They left the ranch as the sky softened from indigo to rose. The wagon creaked gently, carrying only what they needed, everything they hoped for. Ethan drove with quiet confidence, one hand steady on the reins, the other resting against Lila's fingers, as if to reassure himself she was truly there. For the first time, no fear followed her west. The cabin waited beside a slow-moving river, framed by cottonwoods whispering in the breeze. Inside, firelight danced across wooden walls, warm and inviting. Lila paused at the doorway, suddenly shy. Ethan crossed the room and took her hands. "We don't have to rush," he said, voice low. "I don't want to rush," she answered softly. "I want to stay." He kissed her, then not with urgency, but with certainty. The kind of kiss built on patience, on vows chosen freely. When he held her, it felt like coming home to a place she had always been meant to find. Outside, the river murmured like a promise kept inside. Time loosened its grip. They spoke in murmurs, laughter slipping between touches, learning the quiet language of belonging. Ethan traced the curve of Lila's hand, memorizing her as if the world might someday try to take her away. But it wouldn't. When they finally rested, wrapped together beneath the quilt, Lila felt something deep and steady settle in her chest. Love, she realized, wasn't the thunder she once imagined. It was the fire that stayed burning long after the night grew still. Sunlight spilled across the bed, pale and golden. Lila woke first, watching Ethan sleep, his face softened by peace. She had never known a man could look so strong and so gentle at once. When he stirred, his smile was slow and intimate. "Morning," he murmured. She kissed him lightly. "Still real," she whispered. "More than ever." They shared coffee on the porch, wrapped in blankets, the river glinting in the light. No words were needed. Everything important had already been said. At dawn's edge, they stood hand in hand, watching the sun climb free of the hills. Ethan turned to her, eyes clear and certain. "I'll choose you," he said. "Every morning I'm given." Lila smiled, heart full. "Then we'll never run out of sunrises." When they returned to the ranch, they carried more than memories. They carried a love chosen in quiet moments, sealed in firelight, and strong enough to last a lifetime. Morning found them tangled in warmth, sunlight spilling across skin and sheets alike. Lila traced the line of Ethan's shoulder, smiling at the quiet wonder of waking beside the man who had chosen her again and again. His kiss was softer now, deeper in meaning, less about longing, more about belonging. They lingered, letting the day wait. They swam, wandered the banks, and rested in the shade. Ethan's hand found Lila's, as if by instinct. The hours stretched wide and generous. For once, tomorrow asked nothing of them. At dusk, they spoke of the life waiting beyond the honeymoon fields to tend, neighbors to welcome, dreams to try. Planning did not feel heavy. It felt hopeful, shaped by choice. Before dawn, they walked barefoot to the riverbank, hands clasped tight. Mist curled around their ankles as Ethan leaned close, his voice low and certain. "Every morning, every choice, I choose you." Lila answered, with a smile that held her whole heart. "Then let this be forever." They kissed, as the sky blushed pink, sealing a promise no paper could contain, only love, freely and fiercely given. They returned to the ranch, changed not by distance traveled, but by love deepened. Firelight had taught them what first light would keep, a devotion patient enough to last and warm enough to call forever home. The ranch greeted them with open quiet. That first evening back, the house felt larger, echoing with the promise of shared nights ahead. Ethan lit the lamps one by one, while Leela unpacked every familiar room, warmed by the memory of firelight by the river. When he drew her close, the kiss carried the hunger of return, deepened by all they had chosen. Days settled into rhythm. Fences mended, meals cooked, shoulder to shoulder, laughter slipping into the work. At night, they found each other again and hurried, certain learning that passion could live comfortably beside routine, and love could grow stronger in ordinary hours. A summer storm rolled in fast, rattling windows and shaking the barn. They worked together, soaked and breathless, then retreated inside, hearts racing. By lamplight, they held each other until the thunder passed, desire braided with gratitude for the life they were building. On the porch at dusk, they spoke dreams into the open-air orchard near the creek. A bigger table for guests, laughter filling rooms not yet built. Planning no longer felt like hope deferred. It felt like certainty taking shape. Another sunrise found them on the ridge, hands entwined. The west stretched wide, generous with light. They kissed as the day began, knowing this was the vow they would keep choosing each other, in firelight and first light. The ranch came into view just as the afternoon light softened, the familiar rise of the ridge welcoming them home. Leela felt it, then the difference. The land looked the same, but she was not. The silence no longer felt lonely. It felt full. Ethan reined in the wagon and helped her down, his hands lingering, as if the journey had taught him never to take touch for granted. The house smelled of dust and sunlight, waiting patiently for their return. Leela opened the windows wide, letting fresh air rush through rooms that would now hold laughter, late-night conversations, and shared dreams. That evening, they walked the fields together. Ethan spoke of plans: new fencing, a larger garden, maybe a small orchard near the creek. Lila listened, then added her own hopes: a place for neighbors to gather, a home that welcomed anyone who needed shelter the way she once had. At sunset, they climbed the ridge where everything had begun. Ethan slipped his arm around her waist. "Feels different," he said. "It is," Lila replied. "We are." As the sun dipped low, they stood rooted in the land and in each other. The honeymoon had ended, but what it gave them would last far longer. Love steady enough for workdays, warm enough for quiet nights, and strong enough to face whatever seasons lay ahead. They went back down to the house, hand in hand, ready to begin the rest of their life not as survivors, but as partners, finally home. Like and subscribe. Aurora Tale Wild West. God bless.